We know Manchester United have more money than they're letting on. They were ready to do a 65 million deal for Antoine Semenyo. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, why aren't Manchester United doing business if they had 65 million ready for Semenyo and we need a midfielder? Well, Man United said, we're only going to do business in January if it's a player that we want to sign in the summer. Now, the players that Manchester United want to sign in the summer are the likes of Vanson and the likes of Baleba and more. And interestingly, there's reports coming out that Baleba's price tag will be a lot lower. Brighton are more open to selling the player. Could United push and do something in January? And why do Man United have a lot more money than people think? We've actually got a lot of money coming in next summer through players leaving, loans ending, wages saved. We're going to talk about Manchester United's 80 million transfer boost that is ready to be spent should one of our summer targets become available in January. If not, it will be spent in the summer. We're going to talk about Ndiaye. We're going to talk about Meïté. We're going to talk about Carrick's impact and some interesting reports on that. And the manager talk coming in regards to who could be the next manager of Manchester United. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show where I round up all the latest Manchester United news into a 10-minute video for you guys. If you're new to the channel, every single evening there's a 10-minute video. All the news is summed up into 10 minutes for you guys. Let's dive into it. So, I was reading One Football and they were talking about Baleba and Man United wanting Baleba, him being a priority, and Baleba's price tag potentially being lower. According to the Daily Mail, Matt Hargreaves has held numerous meetings throughout January to explore the possibility of bringing in a short-term midfield option. Now, Baleba's not a short-term midfield option, but we know from many reports that Ineos are thinking, damn, we could get Champions League here. Financially, this is really good for the club. Do we look at doing something in January in midfield to increase our chances of getting Champions League? Now, Man United are saying, well, we only want to do business if it's a long-term target, but should we bring in someone short-term to help get Champions League? If I'm Man United, I try and push to get one of our long-term targets early, and that would be Carlos Baleba. That's made it quite clear he would like to go to Man United. The Mail suggests that Baleba has privately expressed a desire to play alongside Cameroonian teammate Mbeumo. There was a report, and I can't remember who reported it because this report came out, honestly, a couple of months ago. But there was a report that came out that basically Man United pretty much had a gentleman's agreement with Baleba. He told the club he wants to go there. So in the summer, we're not worried about Liverpool or City or Tottenham or any club that would be going on for Baleba. There was a report that basically Man United got that green light from Baleba that he wants to move. He's willing to turn down other clubs for United, and that puts United in a position of strength. I think if Baleba is willing to push in January, it's possible. Now, I think we're going to get Baleba in the summer. I'm quite confident we're going to get Baleba in the summer. I don't think we'll get him in January. But if Baleba really put a bit of pressure on Brighton and Man United said, look, we had 65 million for Semenyo, we've got a bit of money coming in, we've got the money to buy you now if Brighton are lowering your fee, and Semenyo really pushed for a move, maybe it's possible. Again, I don't expect Baleba. I do not expect Baleba in January. I do not expect Man United to sign him in January. But I do think we have money. If the player pushed for a move, maybe it's possible. The player wants the move. But it was said that United also believe they would be able to sign Baleba for a lower price than what was initially quoted in the summer. So this was said by the Mail, and One Football spoke about this, and this had been reported in the past that there's a feeling that Baleba actually somewhere could be available for around 75 million. And I don't know who reported that. I read a report about 2 weeks ago that Baleba could be available for 75 million. I think of his season form, I don't really want to spend over 70 million on Baleba considering he's dropped off this season. But AFCON and his last game versus Fulham, he was fantastic and he's definitely looking back to his old self. But there is a feeling that Brighton are no longer going to ask for 100 million for Baleba. It's going to be closer to 70 million and that he could be available for cheaper. If we had 65 million for Semenyo, I mean, if I'm Man United, I'd chuck a cheeky 70 million bid in for Baleba now, see if you can get Baleba to push the move, see what Brighton do. Again, don't know if they will do anything. But the money is there. And people will say, well, we don't have 70 million for Baleba. We had 65 million for Semenyo. And people keep saying, how do we have the money? We should get 40 million for Højlund in the summer, unless it all goes tits up with Napoli. We should get 26 million for Rashford, but Barcelona are going to make that complicated. We should save around 15 million in Casemiro's wages. Højlund, Rashford, Casemiro themselves, that brings in 80 million. Sancho's wages is costing us a couple mil, but Villa are paying most of those. With the wages of Rashford and everything as well, we're looking at saving 80 to 100 million in the summer, just with Sancho, Rashford, Casemiro and Højlund going. We're looking at between 80 to 100 million saved, because obviously wages can be reported wrong. That's the kind of money United are looking at. Onana could also go, and more. So we had the money for Semenyo. We had money for a midfielder in the summer, but Baleba was too much. We clearly had an extra 60, 70 million available in the summer, which we're willing to put on Semenyo. We've clearly got 60, 70 million, plus this bit of money here. Plus, if we get Champions League football, potentially 100 million more. Man United do have money to spend in the summer. Will Man United spend in the summer? I think we will. I think we're going to go and get two big midfielders. I think we're going to go and get a winger. I think we will spend in the summer. But Man United have the money to spend in the summer. So if we get to the summer and we're not doing anything, remember we have the money. And look, I get Man United's strategy is we'd rather not spend than buy the wrong player for the sake of buying a player. I get that. I'd rather us not sign a midfielder than bring in Loftus-Cheek, for example. But I think there's some quality players out there that we could look at bringing in if we can't get Baleba, like João Gomez. So we had 65 million for Semenyo. If the right target becomes available in January, we'll sign them. Anderson, Baleba, Wharton only seem to be available in the summer. But I still think United should try for Baleba. Price tag lower. I think we should try. Anyway, let's talk about another one of our targets outside the midfield in Ndiaye. Now, for me, Ndiaye is not worth £75 million. I like Ndiaye, big fan. 75 million is ridiculous. United believe that they would be able to bring Iliman and Ndiaye to Old Trafford. Sources have told Team Talk. Sources have told us that Man United need to pay at least 75 million. I think Man United will go for Ndiaye. I think Manchester United could definitely convince Ndiaye to join. But I think it depends on the price. I think we're going to be spending nearly 200 million on midfield. I don't think United want to spend more than 50, 60 million. I think if you could get Ndiaye for 55, 60 million, Man United would do it. I can't see us pushing 70 million for Ndiaye. I don't think he's better than Semenyo. Semenyo would have been my first choice, and Semenyo was 65 million. I wouldn't want to spend more than 55, 60 million on Ndiaye. But I prefer Ndiaye to Yan Diamonde. I'm not 100% convinced on Yan Diamonde. I much prefer Ndiaye, even though he's a profile similar to what we have, and maybe we need someone a bit more versatile. But if I'm Man United, I look at Ndiaye. I wouldn't really go above 65 million. We'll have to see what happens, but I think the focus is on midfield, and then we might look at Ndiaye. I wanted to talk about Michael Carrick, because a lot of reports have come out about Michael Carrick's incredible impression on the Man United players since he's joined training. I'm sure Carrick's fantastic in training. I'm sure the players love him. But I'm going to say one thing. Every time a new manager comes in, whether it's interim, whether it's permanent, we get the players are impressed with what Ralph Rangnick is doing. The players are impressed with what Ruben Amorim is doing. The players are impressed with what Ten Hag is doing. And it doesn't matter who the manager is. The first 1 or 2 weeks, there's always reports that the players are impressed that this manager is doing this, this, and this, and the manager before them didn't do this, this, and this. We always get those reports. So we do have to take this news with a pinch of salt. But Pete Hall has given a little bit of info on what's working really well with Carrick, and I do really like this report, and I do think that Carrick is doing a great job in training. I'm really happy with Carrick, but I also know that we do this report every time a new manager comes in. But Pete Hall said that Carrick has been described as having a calm authority around Carrington. The players say he coaches like he's played, because he has played at a good level. He's composed, clear, and he makes difficult things look simple. The players are impressed with the detail and clarity from Carrick and his staff so far in training. And they said Amorim's training kind of focused on this 3-4-3, staying rigid, whereas obviously Carrick's training is more on individual work, and his sessions are actually shorter, sharper, but more intense, boosting concentration. So rather than having longer dragged out sessions like Amorim would have, it's shorter but it's more intense. He wants more. And that Steve Holland has been very impressive as assistant coach, also playing a key role in training. And apparently a strong dynamic is developing within the coaching group. So lots of positives on Carrick and his impact in training. And obviously it was spoken about by Pete Hall about how Carrick had been credited with developing the likes of Morgan Rogers before he went to Villa, Hayden Hackney, one of the best players in the Championship now, and how Carrick does have a good reputation as a coach. Last but not least, I want to talk about Kader Meïté. We obviously spoke about him on a video yesterday, him being available for 26 million. Man United might consider him as a Xerxes replacement. However, a deal right now is looking unlikely. United are monitoring him. A move now is very unlikely. He's someone for the future. United are mindful of the pressure that comes with playing for the club, expect a quiet window, sales only if a significant bid arrives. I think like Xerxes, we wouldn't let him go out on loan, but if someone bidded 30 million for Xerxes, I think we'd let Xerxes go, blah, 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 blah. I think with Meïté, he's a great player, one for the future, but we don't need a young striker. We've got Sesko, we've got Obi, we had Højlund, Cunha and Boomer can play central. For me, I like the guy. He's someone that you look to sign maybe in a year if the club is in a bit of a more stable place. But we need 2 to 3 midfielders. We need a left winger and a left back before anywhere else. But I do like the guy. Anyway, thank you for watching today's 10-minute roundup. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll be back tomorrow morning with a live show, or probably tomorrow lunchtime. See you then. Bye.